Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I am preparing to do a new moon tarot reading in the sign of Gemini, happening right now around the 27th of May 2025. So I don't know if you can feel some of the energies, but I'll give you a bit of insight in what I have been feeling that has been coming up for me during these days. So I have themes like, of course, twins. The Gemini is a twin constellation. So it talks about two of the same kind, two almost identical but not, right? It looks the same, but it's not necessarily the same. There can be like a light and shadow aspect of two that looks like the same, but they're not quite the same. It could be two sides of yourself that you are identifying, that you figure out that you actually love this but you also hate it, or when you love something or you go towards something, there's always some other aspect as well. So let's say you go to the beach, you love the beach, you love bathing, you love the sun, great, but there's a potential for a sunburn, right? There's a potential that there are mosquitoes there, or there's a potential that suddenly there is an undercurrent in the water and you cannot swim in the water, right? There's this enormous joy for something, and then there's this potential other side to something. Okay, that is maybe a more obvious thing about Gemini, but I felt that there has been something like, and I think that it may link also with the last final degrees that Jupiter is currently in Gemini and has been for some years working with Gemini, and it is about to leave Gemini and move into the Cancerian realm. So Jupiter is in the last degrees right now of Gemini. So like a wrapping up, an end, or something has come to an end with whatever Jupiter has been working with in Gemini. For each of you, this can be different things. I have something about twins' potential for this new moon, a wish for or a longing for to connect with a twin, connect with this other who knows you, right? They know you in and out, but they are almost like you but not you, right? There's usually with twins, identical twins, there's this that you look at them, but they look almost the same, but are not quite the same, right? There's almost always someone who is born first and someone who followed. So there's like the first one and the second one, right? There's always one who comes first and then the other after. There can be a tendency to one leading and one following, one being more outspoken, one more shy perhaps, and even something like having needed to take care of a twin, you know. It doesn't have to be like a physical identical twin, but let's say you're the one who always, you are the mothering one for your friends, right? That you have a tendency of being if we should say that, you would be that kind of twin, right? You're the one that is responsible, right? And then you have friends, or at least people you know and care about, who are a bit more reckless, right? Or they are childish, or they're immature, and you become the one that guides them, right? Or the other way around, that you tend to be one who is messing things up, and your finances is a mess, and you overspend or something. And then there is this other who is very good at like keeping things in check. Do you get my point? And then this idea of where we live in a masculine ruled society in the Western world, so order and control and discipline is favored. These are ways of living that is favored in this society that we live in. Therefore, the opposite is not favored. So laziness, being out of work, people who can't tend to themselves, they seem to not have the discipline or not have the wish to live so controlled, or so they can keep a job and so on. You will know if you know people like that in your life, right? And you will know which one you are, right? Are you more on one side or the other, right? One is favored, one is not favored, right? One is the white sheep, one is the black sheep of the family, perhaps. And there could be this tendency of carrying someone, right? That one twin carries the other through certain situations in life, and maybe being fed up with it, right? Being tired of it. It's exhausting, right? And wanting to leave them, or wanting to come together with them. That some kind of dynamic like this, I feel like is here. I think also the feeling that if you have lived, let's say you have lived a twin, or you have lived this friend of yours who you love dearly, but it's exhausting, or it's exhausting to carry them, right? And for the ones who are carried, they may feel like they're not good enough, right? That they are always judged, or to a certain point looked down upon, or criticized, right? This feeling that they're never good enough, that they can never ever become like you, or they can never ever become that one. They don't have the skills, so they are vulnerable maybe, or now I get something like handicapped, like it could be regarded almost like they are handicapped in some way, like they are innately built different than you, and they are handicapped or not capable, not able to, and therefore you carry them, right? That they shouldn't fall, right? They shouldn't fall, because again, if this is your twin, if they fall, you fall, right? That feeling to carry someone on your shoulders, right? That you're carrying someone who is not able. And that responsibility to always be there for someone else, to look and tend to their needs, where you could tend and look at your own, or choose your own needs, right? But you're not doing it, because if they fall, you fall, right? That feeling. So someone being very much a parent, and someone maybe being, I wouldn't say a child, but not able, let's just use that word, right? Not able to do on their own, not able to manage. They're the ones that always gets themselves in trouble. They're always late, you know. They are incoherent. You make an appointment, they always show up too late or never show up. You know, they don't return calls. They are missing out on events. They don't keep a calendar. They don't have a watch, you know, things like that, where you can't rely on them, right? You can't rely on them to be responsible. You can't rely on them to do the work, to lift, carry weight in some way. So I have something like that, like a dynamic where someone may have been carrying another, or feeling that they have, felt that they have, and they're fed up with it. They wanna, you know, like release themselves from this bind, this connection, this. But again, when they try to, then something is missing almost, right? It's like they can't cut that tie without feeling empty, I guess, in a way. And a part of the caretaker role, even though you don't want it perhaps, or you're tired of it or exhausted, you don't want it, it's still in you, right? It's a part of you to be that one. So even if you get angry with this friend or this twin, this brother or sister, you say goodbye to them, there's still something in you that can't quite let go, right? You may still look at their Instagram page or their Facebook page, right? You may still drive by the house to see what it looks like, right? You may still concern yourselves, right? Because you know how bad it could become, right? You know that how bad it could become in some way. So even though you may want to cut the ties, you can seem to not quite be worried to a certain extent. And do they have something to offer, right? Do they actually have something to offer? Like when they are so incoherent, when they are so unreliable in some way, is there something in their world that they can offer you, right? You may seem like you carry them, but maybe they carry you too in a way, right? Or they could if you let them know the stuff, maybe they can offer you something, their world. What is going on in their world? Their world is a world of non-control, non-discipline, you know, and maybe there's something to be found in that world that is actually a sense of relief, maybe, or a sense of so if I didn't have to carry this responsibility, I could be more like them. Right, I could be more laissez-faire. I could be more carpe diem, you know, kind of a sense of more freedom. And you see how if someone is always carrying someone else, feeling responsibility, they're never really free. They're never really themselves either, right? They always have an eye on someone else, like taking care of a younger sibling, you know. You have to have an eye on what they're doing because they can't be alone. that feeling. But when you always have to have an eye on someone else, you can never really be free yourself, if that is what you want. If that is what you want. So I feel this new moon, there is an opportunity to have a talk, right? Maybe to be very honest and talk about the differences that you may have, whether this is a friend we talk about, or a sibling, or a twin, maybe a twin, right? Or someone you regard almost as a twin, right? But there's still this difference. There's always, it seems like, one who leads and one who follows. Maybe the follower is like irritated always to follow. Maybe they want to lead, but they cannot lead if you are leading, right? So maybe there is a talk to switch roles, or to try the other way around, or to understand the other one's world. And is there something to be found in that world that can actually add to yours? Both ways, of course, right? Is there something to be found that can add to your world? And will it strengthen the connection, or will it weaken the connection? For some, it could be that they need a pause, they need a break, right? For both of them to realize what they miss in the other, right? And to establish a sense of respect or understanding. Yeah, that's what I feel like. There is something about a relationship that has turned sour to a certain point, and one feels overburdened and is looking at the other like they are this playing child who never grows up, and they feel like they have to carry double weight. And the other one may feel like they are judged, criticized, and never good enough, and ashamed maybe, or embarrassed, or and all these feelings just makes them worse, right? It makes their chaos more chaotic or tumultuous. So it's not helping in a way. And for Jupiter now leaving Gemini, because Jupiter is gigantic, it's very big, and it's very work-oriented in astrology. Jupiter's work, it's the 10th house. It has to do with usually our role in society, work, or as I just talked about, maybe someone having a very hard time with work, cannot keep hours, tend to oversleep and don't get up in time. And maybe there could be something about roles shifting, right? That one is becoming more aware of these dynamic, matures, grows up, and one is able to relax more, something like that, a different balance. And I also want to say, is one world better than the other, right? Is it actually more successful to be the dependent one, the responsible one? Because they tend to become serious, very serious people, right? they tend to not laugh and not be free and not dance and, you know, express themselves. They become more serious and more work oriented in a way, duty oriented. I can't say if one world is better than the other. I think that it's that's how it seems like that's how our world functions, right? That we have work-oriented people, and then we have a group of individuals who are having a harder time with all this structure and discipline and control and 9-to-5 jobs, and you know, it becomes it almost like a prison. There's no freedom, there's no free movement. It becomes static, boring, or things like that. So I get dynamics like this something like that. Let's have a look at the cards here. So I have King of Air. So King of Air, well, we have blue on the table already. King of Air. Let me just feel into this one. It's an air sign, of course. Gemini is an air sign. But there's always something about this guy for me, because he feels to me like someone who, you know, he's like bigger than the frame can hold. Like he has wings, his wings goes out here, but the frame is only until here, right? That's what the frame can hold, right? So only this is visible of him, but actually he's way bigger than this, right? His body goes down here, but we can only see this, right? That this is what the frame can hold. When I say the frame can hold, this usually has to do with our consciousness. How willing we are to expand our mind, to open up to new ideas, to see things from a different viewpoint, to switch places, as I said, or attempt to understand more, right? This guy, he is bigger than the frame can hold, the current frame. The current frame could be something like the tone of society, what is understood and not understood, that there is an energy here that is way more, like there is so much more information here. He's a king, right? He's big, very big. Again, I get a bit of Jupiter here, Jupiter and Gemini here. King is completion, right? He's very, very big. He's bigger than the frame can hold. He has information, knowledge. He is very intelligent, very analytical, very logical. It's very air-oriented, mathematic, logical thinking. It's sharp. It's calculated, and he's very intelligent, and he is not wavering. Right? He has a very clear mind. Almost, I want to say, very set in his ways. He's a king of Aries. It's like he's a king is in his realm. So if you put this one into the water, right? Or if you put this one into the fire, he will not be a king. He will not be a king because he is a king in the air element, right? This is where he moves. This is where logic is fed. This is where books are written, right? And read. This is where the computers rule the realm, and where all this is, and almost like a library, right? He's a library, right? And he goes way out, more than the frame can hold. It's like we only know a person to a certain point, right? Or we can only know about the other to a certain point. Sometimes I also think that this guy can be a bit too much, right? That he's too fed up in his own presence, that he's larger than life, right? That he is a godlike figure. But it's something bigger than the frame can hold, can be something about your set of consciousness, right? That there's a potential to widen it, to learn something. But if we learn something more from another, that they are trying to show us their realm, they are trying to show us their world, we have to be open to it, right? And this guy, I'm not sure, right? Sometimes he's a bit self-absorbed, right? He is very controlling, you could say. A king of air likes plans, right? He's definitely a masculine attempt here. He likes plans, he likes discipline, he likes orders, he likes clarity. And sometimes all of these structures help him to have more clarity, right? That a calendar can be a help to have more clarity. It's not all bad. Like a calendar is not all bad, or a watch is not all bad. It helps you in a certain way. It can help you in a certain way. This guy likes these things. He likes the help of the watch or the calendar or the dishwasher or whatever it helps him, a robot vacuumer, right? It helps him clean the house, right? It helps him to get the order that he may not be willing to or able to perform himself, right? So he likes those things. He is, and because he has that help, he can be a king. But if he didn't have that kind of help, he would not be a king, because he would vacuum clean and dishwash, right? He would run around and not have order in his life because there was no calendar or no watch to help him. But because those things have been invented, he can be a king now, right? That kind of feeling. So you can use some of these mechanical or inventions, mechanical products, technical products, to help you if you don't have these discipline skills yourself, right? You can that's an alliance to use some of these products to help you become more disciplined, not because you are, but because they help you to, right? They help you to. Again, I have something like a disabled twin, right? So this could be someone who is thinking for them, right? You think, now I get almost like, now I get an example of this. If you know the scientist Stephen Hawking, right? Stephen Hawking ended up becoming rather disabled, sitting in a wheelchair, couldn't do anything actually. He needed all around help, right? he had his wheelchair who helped him to get around. He had a wife who did a lot of the domestic work and caring for their children, so that he could be larger than the frame could hold, larger than his body could hold, you would say. It's almost like a mind that becomes bigger than the body can hold, right? So the body was almost paralyzed, and the body became the brain became very big. But let's say that was your twin, right? That you had Stephen Hawking's like a twin. What to do, right? Would you stay with him, right? And help him? Thinking all those big thoughts that he was thinking out of the box, right? Bigger than the frame can hold, bigger than society knows at a current point, at this point in time. New thoughts, bigger new thoughts, right? He's way bigger than this, right? So bigger than the frame can hold, meaning that what the frame can hold is what society knows at this point in time, or what we are liking and have accepted, and what we believe in, what we trust in and what we believe in, of science maybe. But this one is way bigger, right? He is way bigger than this. He has more to offer. But maybe he cannot offer this if he has to be reliable, trustworthy, doing a lot of shows and everything. Could Stephen Hawking's have been concentrating on his theories about the black hole and more probably, if he didn't have help? Do you get my point? It's like seeing the potential in someone, but knowing that they can. It's like a genius, right? It's like having a genius brother. Genius in a very specific area, but a rather mess in other areas. And then you become that twin who takes care of all the rest for them to have this brilliant mind. Now I get Rain Man, I get something like where we know autism, right? Autism, that people with autism usually are brilliant in one specific area, but they can be having rather difficult time in almost any other area, right? So let's say you have a brother who is, or a twin, a friend, a partner even, a sibling, who is like this, right? They know something. They are very brilliant in one area or in some area, but in other areas they tend to lack focus or ability or knowledge. They tend to burn out in some way. So what to do with this guy, right? If we know the potential of someone, can we just leave? Will we stay around, right? Will we stay? Will we help them? Be the one who puts themselves second, right? And doing this because we know that someone else is a brilliant doctor, right? And then you become the housewife or the friend that takes care, assistant that takes care of all other stuff, right? So that they become this brilliant something. It's a king of air. So this has to do with technology, science, mathematician, research, analytics, something that is very airy, numbers, geometries, I don't know, someone who's very skilled in a specific area, math, very skilled math person, right? But actually bigger than what the frame this can also talk about someone who is overqualified, right? They are in a frame. Let's say they are in a house. Let's say you have a child who is highly intelligent, right? So much so that what you have to offer in your house and with your knowledge is no stimuli. Like this person needs more stimuli. Like now I get what is that called? What is he called? Like the Big Bang. The Big Bang series. What is he called? There's a series where he's a child, right? And he grows up in this so-called ordinary family, right? An ordinary family. That is what the frame is. It's an ordinary family with so-called, I don't know, ordinary intelligence. Let's just use that word. But this one is not like that. He is he's in here, but he almost feels suffocated, right? Because he is way bigger than what that frame. It's like being in a situation that shrinks you, right? That holds you in like this. It has a grip on you, but actually you're way bigger than this, but you can't fly because the situation here holds you in, right? It could be, let's say this one is a woman, right? And because she is a woman, he cannot fly because women do not get education, right? Women cannot become professors, right? Something like that. Society or the rule or the regulations or the traditions or something, that's the frame. That's the frame. The frame can be anything here, right? But it could be a voice inside yourself even. That you have a frame to your how much you can expand, right? That you have a frame to how clever you are, right? The frame can be like self-limited thoughts even, right? The frame can be anything. It just means that it's like the limit. There's a limit and you can only expand to this. But actually this one is way bigger, right? They think out of the box thoughts. They are highly skilled genius or yes, like, I don't know, and when you keep them in like this, they feel kind of suffocated, right? They are so limited every time they want to talk about an area as something. People are just shaking their heads, not understanding what he's saying, right? A bit like Stephen Hawking's, right? His theory was interesting, but they didn't quite get it. Not in the beginning, right? He had to work on it a lot. He had to stay with it. He has to stick with it and trust in it and put in the effort. And if you're the one who stands besides this person, you may see it as well. You may see how the frame limits a person, right? You may see how, let's say this could be a singer, air element, throat chakra. Let's say this is a singer, but not someone who has become popular yet. They have the potential, right? But the frame the frame here holds them in, like they have limited self-belief, or the frame around them, the people around them, society around them, and the traditions and ways in society is not allowing them to spread their wings. Something like that. And again, if they spread their wings, they become maybe a giant new Beyonce, Whitney Houston, you know, something like Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, you know, something like this. But when they do that, they cannot take care of domestic stuff, right? They will be on tour. They are always shooting, singing, wardrobe check, makeup, training. They will be occupied. They cannot do the ordinary stuff. Who will take care of the children and so on, right? They will be occupied. So if we keep them in the box, they cannot expand. Maybe someone is keeping themselves in a box here to not expand because there is a responsibility. That this guy has a responsibility. Maybe he has children, or she. Maybe she has children. Maybe there is, as I said, a responsibility somewhere. Sick parents, or a person whom you have to care about. So you cannot expand, right? Because if you expand, you fly away. You're not available, you're not here anymore. Something like that. Healer of the ages. Interesting. Yeah, like on one hand, I feel like healer of the ages could talk about, again, this air element. This can be a scientist, right? This can be someone extremely clever. Like maybe this is a doctor, a surgeon, a researcher within the medical field or the healing field, a professor of some kind, right? Who is very skilled in some kind of healing art. I don't know which one, right? It could be psychological, it could be like physical body. It could be, I'm very drawn to the mind area. This could be a neural surgeon, something like that. Potential here, because again, they are in the frame. They are not there yet. They're not in there yet. Could be psychological. It could be like potentially a teacher, some kind of teacher who has the healing abilities, right? Something not seen before, something new, something not known. Again, it's out. They are bigger than the frame can hold, right? The frame can only hold this understanding, but he has an understanding that is way bigger than this, right? Something like that. Okay, on the other side, amethyst. So I get transformation, certainty, and confidence. Okay, let me have a look at this card for a minute. So immediately, even though there's purple here, I'm very drawn to this blue. He is blue, right? Blue star here. The purple indicates crown chakra. Again, air element. Air is usually what I call. It has to do with the throat chakra. Throat chakra has to do with how we think, the beliefs we have, the consciousness we have, thoughts and ideas about yourself and others. It's the construct we have in the brain, the ability to learn The identity we shape, it's what is that? There's something about armor. Just a minute. There's something about an armor. Maybe that's why he's still in the frame, that he's building some kind of armor resistance, because he will know that if he shows up and tells people what and who he is and what he wants to do, he breaks the frame. And when someone breaks the frame, it creates turmoil. As I said, if twins who have always been together all their lives, suddenly one wants to break out, it creates turmoil for the one who is left, and maybe people around, but also for the one who's leaving. It takes resistance to become someone who breaks out of a frame. And I feel like a quite solid frame. It's something that is not easily broken, right? It's not easy to show who you really are here. The blue star. Well, the blue star would be something like Sirius. It is looked upon from astronomers as it actually has a somewhat bluish, blue-white light. The blue star. The blue star. Throat chakra. I feel that there's something held in. Like he's in the frame, but if he should actually, this is someone who communicates inside the frame. Let's say this one is highly intelligent, a highly intelligent child within a family. Again, I get Bing Bang, what is he called? This, I don't recall what he's called. But there is a series with him where he's a child. And he has this brother who doesn't get him at all. He's what we would call a normal boy. And then there's what is he called? But he's highly intelligent, right? He's so orderly and wears a tie, and he's just this, and he is accepted at Harvard when he was like 10 years old or something like that. He's like this prodigy, right? This is like a prodigy, right? But in hiding almost, or in incognito, or not there yet. But the potential of this king is there, right? Share something. Share. What is he called? But I think it was Harvard. He is accepted at Harvard, and he has talks with professors, and his mom and dad, well, they're doing their best, but they can't really seem to get him, not that well. He needs like-minded people, right? He needs like-minded people. Otherwise, he's kept in the frame. He needs people who thinks outside of the box, who allows for different ways of thinking, twisting and turning, understandings. Because otherwise he is understimulated, right? He doesn't get the right education if he's kept in the frame. And when people are kept in the frame, they become, it's like they burn, what is that called? It's like an internal burn down, or of frustration, right? That people don't get them, people don't understand them. Everything they say, people turn their head and say, no, this is not how it is. This is how it is. But he would say, no, it's not. There's more, right? But because it hasn't been discovered yet, because it hasn't been talked about yet, because it hasn't been put into paper yet, or put on paper, or written a book about it yet, it doesn't exist, right? Inside our society, if it's not in a book by some professor, we don't believe it, right? If it's not established as an education, it's not usable. It's not something to invest in, right? It's a waste of time, right? But this guy, it's like he knows there's more, right? He knows there's more. There's something that it's almost like he knows some kind of, well, there's always with every new invention, let's say within a medical field or a scientific field, within every time there is a new invention, we may clap our hands because it serves us in some way. We are happy, or it can cure something. So every time someone comes in as a healer with some kind of information or knowledge, or just how to, there is a certain reaction to it. Let's just take Freud, right? When Freud established his field, you could say, of psychology, it wasn't even known at that time. He was one of the first who actually started describing the mind, right? The mind and the feelings, and how the psychology of a human person, right? He became a healer to a certain point because his words acted as a teacher, right? His words acted as teachings, knowledge that could improve how we understand the human mind or people, and why we are different, and all kinds of reactions that have to do with the subconscious, the ego and the self, and the development of the self, and all these terms that he invented, that he talked about. He wrote it down, he talked about it, right? Every time someone comes in with some kind of knowledge that is new, or so-called new, there is a potential that it can become a leading fact or a leading understandings, leading knowledge. This guy, I feel like, has that potential. So sometimes we may want to support someone like this until they have actually figured out what it is they want to write, right? The process of writing a new teaching book for university, right, requires that someone has some kind of knowledge that is established with, within this field of air. There is usually a theory, method, and proof to make this legit in some way. So I feel like this guy, there's something that he has that potentially is a new theory, new method, and proof of something that has a healing effect on our world, us as humans, the way we live, and so on. We could see this guy, he looks like Jesus, right? And he had these very special healing arts. He could heal with his hands, right? This one, I feel like, is more in the air element. It's still healing. It's still helpful. Or it adds something to the human population. It adds as healing. But he's in a scientific field. I want to say a scientific field. But then we have this card, amethyst. Amethyst is a purple crystal, and there's a lot of purple here in the card. So I feel like it's not just scientific. This guy has an open crown chakra. The crown chakra is known to be connected with the universal realm. It's a spiritual channel positioned on the top of the head. That's the crown chakra. This is like a combination of cosmic knowledge, spiritual knowledge, intuition, and a certain sense of science or math or technical skill. Air element is very rational. It demands proof. There's clarity. It's undebatable. Like when air flows, it's clear. There are no questions. It's undoubtable true or undoubtedly useful, right? A king of air is very sharp, very in his element. He's definitely a king. He's definitely clear. He's definitely it's his element. But as I said, put him in water, right? It's a different story. But here he is a king. So let's say this is someone, you have a conversation with them, and it's about math. And here they shine. They are a total king. You don't understand them. Like they are way out there in their math equations. But if you talk about this guy, about dinner or child caretaking, he will not be a king. No more, right? He is out of his element. Now he is in the water element or is in the earth element. Now he is not a king. He will be more of a, maybe a, on the other side of the scale, right? He will not be a king. He will be like a novice. He will not know. It almost feels like there is a king of air, but Gemini here, I feel like, who is in a frame that is limiting him. So let's say this king of air is in water. He's put in water, right? And he's trying to figure out how to establish his proof and everything. And water shifts back and forth. That is what psychology, that's why psychology hasn't been regarded as a true science, because we are shifting our perspective. We change our feelings and our mood. It's not stable. It's not the same. King of air element is the same. It's very stable. It's very clear. It's always the same result. That is math and scientific proof. The way science work. That element, it has rules. Let's say that. In this element there are rules and laws that govern truth and false. In the water element, you can't really say that. It changes and shifts. It depends on the mood, the day, the time of the day. There is no plan in the water element. It can be calculated. Not really. But in a field where things can be calculated, he is a king. This one. So I have a feeling of someone feeling like they are put in some kind of bind, right? And they can't seem to expand out of it, freeing themselves out of it. It's like a bird in a cave, right? And he can't fly out, can't get out. Transformation, certainty, and confidence. So someone could be going through some kind of transformation here. As I said, there was something like an armor. It's like someone is building resistance to break this cave open and show themselves with some kind of information, some kind of knowledge they have that potentially is very healing or helpful. Something that potentially can change our convictions, right? What we currently know in science, what we currently know in a medical field. Someone is knowing something here, potentially knowing something. Maybe they are young, you know, they are in some kind of educational system, but they haven't reached. They have just started, right? They have just started, but they are clever beyond their years. They know stuff beyond their years. They just don't have the exam to prove it, right? Like Sheffield, no, that's something from the Big Bang, right? He was approved into Harvard as at the age of 10 or something, right? Which was extremely unusual. So he's this prodigy, this talent, a talent that is put inside a box that is too small. What he is surrounded by is limiting him in his thinking. it's like, again, growing up in a family where you feel always more clever, right? Like you look at your parents and you think that they are imbeciles, or like you always knew more than them, right? You could out clever them, or what is that called? Like you could easily, like you could analyze the situation with so much skill, even though you were just a child, perhaps, right? You're way ahead of them. And well, I don't know, there are two ways, right? Someone can become very narcissistic and just believe that they are so much more clever than anyone else. But if you can combine your convictions with maybe cosmic knowledge or intuitive knowledge, then you can actually bring forth something to the world that has maybe not seen before. But you can only do so if the frame allows it, right? Again, maybe you, if let's say this is someone who doesn't have an education, now I get another film here. It's I get film references. I don't know why. Maybe because others of you out there have seen that film. It is with Matt Damon. He is this janitor in some math institution. He doesn't have any education. He doesn't have any exam papers. And this math institution has this this fun game where they put up some kind of very difficult equation on some board, a blackboard in the hallway, and it's up to the students to try to figure this out. If they feel like they have the solution, they can write it on the blackboard. But this janitor guy, he's a young boy, and he's reckless. Like he can't seem to hold a job. He get into fights. He can't focus his mind, right? He can't focus his mind and actually use it to something useful. It seems like his knowledge, his mind is too quick, right? And he needs a bit of guidance to kind of focus it so that it actually helps him in this world and not get him into trouble. He seems to want to run away from responsibility. He seems to not want to focus his effort. He finds everybody around him just stupid, right? And because of that attitude, he gets himself into trouble. Then he meets this psychologist, and he dismisses him and doesn't want to work with him and finds him just stupid. He offends him, but still this doctor stays with him and helps him to understand himself and helps him to try to focus his knowledge so that he can actually make a difference, so that he can actually bring something to the world, right? He can earn money, like get his life together in some way. So it's that kind of feeling, right? To be someone who is there to focus, to help someone else focus, perhaps. right? To help someone else focus. But when you do that, you are not available for yourself, right? You are available for someone else. And maybe there's this feeling that, I do see a potential in this one, but what about me, right? What about my potential? What about my freedom? What about me not always worrying, not always being concerned? What if I'm not there? Can they do on their own, right? Will someone help them if I'm not there? That feeling. And now I get alien, right? It's like almost someone is too different. They are special and brilliant, but different, right? Can they do on their own? What if Stephen Hawking's wife wasn't there to help him? Where would he live? How would he be cared for? Could he still work on his project or on his theories? Would someone love him? Maybe you know someone like that in your life. Maybe you have concerns for a child. Maybe you have a child like this Big Bang boy from the series The Big Bang. That you know when he is in his element, he shines, right? He's definitely a king. But if you put him in another, he becomes limited, right? He becomes limited when, or even like really falls over, right? If you put him in, let's say, the fire element, which is about muscles and fighting and being brave, and then he may fall over and wants to escape, right? So I get something like that. So when I look at the picture here, I'm not necessarily looking at the words, but just looking at the picture, I get a feeling of like a Jesus energy. Jesus energy is calm, friendly. It is light, beautiful. It is a love energy. There are no weapons, there is no fighting, there is no competition. It embraces, it's healing, embracing, empathic, understanding energy. There is no fighting, there's no competition, no lies, none of that. And he can be like this too, right? Again, in the air element, he can be someone like that. But again, as I said, if you take him and put into the fire element with muscles and weapons and competition and striving and being the best and by all means getting to the top, he will not thrive there, right? He will be that is going to be an environment that is where he is very much under pressure. So it depends on where you put this king. Yeah, like it is the head element. Throat, third eye, crown chakra. It is the brain area, right? He shines in the brain area, but he may have severe problems in other areas. Even, let's just say, earth practicality, the practicality of life. As I said, making dinner, dishwashing, clothes washing, keeping hours, keeping a calendar, getting up in time, keeping a job, the practicality of everyday life, the routines of everyday life. He may have a difficult time with that. And there could be this feeling, I have to help him with it. Because I know he has great potential in this area, but he definitely has not in other areas. So I could help him, but when I help him, I can focus on my own stuff. So I'm carrying him, right? In some areas, I'm carrying him. In other areas, he may be vastly more clever than me, right? But I'm carrying him in some areas, and he may carry me in others. But there's something about that, I feel like. And again, he's in a frame. So he's either not a king yet, like he's a prodigy, he's on his move, he's building resistance, he is becoming more and more knowledgeable, wiser and wiser, clever and cleverer, definitely now to the point where the frame can hold him. So you can't have a conversation with him in this area. He is way more clever than you. You don't know, you can't follow, right? You can't follow him. He may talk about cosmic knowledge or something like that. In the cosmic realm, Blue Star series, he may talk about areas you have no idea. Like you feel like you're stupid, right? And he speaks with such certainty, right? It's like he knows. Combination here. Crown chakra and throat chakra. He speaks what he gets, like intuitively, or it's like he connected with something, like blue star, some blue star. Doesn't have to be serious. It could be way further away, like out there. I don't know. Different knowledge. Again, alien feeling, like he is an outcast to a certain point. He's so far out there, like, you know, like Einstein thing. It becomes so alien to be around him, you know. Eventually it becomes too alien, right? And he will be absorbed in his theories, like Einstein or others, right? And they can have a difficult time concentrating on or keeping up a decent lifestyle. They forget to wash, they forget to bathe, brush their teeth, they don't eat well, you know, they are so focused in one area and they forget about the other areas. He could be antisocial, you know, or someone who sticks to themselves, doesn't hang out with many people, only the ones that he finds some kind of connection with, who gets him. That feeling. And again, the Gemini understanding can be light and shadow, right? So you could have one part of you that is human, and then you have this part who's not-ish, right? You could have one aspect that is a light aspect, one that is a shadow. Maybe this is a shadow aspect of you, right? That you feel a part of you like this. And then you have this more outgoing personality that you show the world, right? Something like that I get here. I want to look at the bottom of the deck for this deck here. 10 of Earth. The bottom of the deck is usually a card that comes before this one. So before this is starting to happen, this is present. 10 of Earth is a beautiful card. It's usually a card of, like, 10 of Earth is 10 of Pentacles. This is a like rich, being, or abundant card. An abundant card. But an abundant card in the earth element. But for some reason, I'm not sure I feel that with this card. I don't think it looks that jolly, does it? I don't think it looks that jolly. Like specifically in the first place, I saw her. But then over time, I saw the dog here, just beside her. Can you see the dog? The dog here, out of the light, right? She's in the light. He is not really. It's like this silent companion, right? That is there. It could be someone successful at work, but there's this silent companion here. And the silent companion is this one. Not saying anything. He's out of the spotlight, right? He's not known. It is this one. It could be that you have been quite successful at work. Again, this is also a feminine part. This is a masculine part. Maybe the feminine part of you is very successful at work, doing hard work. And he's here in the background working, in the shadow field working. And again, limited. He is limited by the current frame. He's inside here. Limited and in the shadow aspect, perhaps, having great potential here. Though you may be successful in this area, I do feel a sense of, again, there's spotlight on her, like there's a light on her, she is doing well, it seems like, having money here. But I do get a sense of, I don't know, alone maybe? Again, 10 of Pentacles can be what we normally call the catch. They have everything together. They have money, they have a great house, they have a great car, they look great, they are maybe socially important or famous or attractive in some way. But I do get a sense of they are alone here. I do get a sense of loneliness, like it's like someone who has worked very hard getting everything together in life but still feeling, I don't know, lonely, unfulfilled, I don't know, something like that. And then this guy here is starting to stir, right? He's starting to move. This guy, it comes after. That's how I read. The bottom of the deck is something that was before. Now this one is approaching. He's moving. Something is on the move here. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Yeah, so as I just said, it's like maybe you have been in the workplace. You have been in the workplace, you have been doing quite well, you have worked a lot. And before this one, the Healer of the Ages, I get community, social, social butterfly maybe. You were hanging out with people, more socially interactive. Community, work community, maybe you were more active with a group here. This feels more like the other side. This feels more introverted. As I said, a genius, he's in his own world, his own bubble. This feels more like in society, part of society, working, having colleagues, friends, colleagues, joining communities, dancing, whatever, I don't know, being social. This feels more like a scientist in his lab, alone, alone with his mind and intuition, and working on something here, like he's preparing, working on something. Community is also more common, right? This is normal stuff, right? Where healing of the ages is specialist. Like this is like a specialist. This is something. This is extraordinary. This community stuff here is ordinary, right? This is something everyone can be part of this community, or this is community work. This is earthly matters. It is normal stuff. This feels more like specialist stuff, right? Again, the twin aspect of ordinary, doing quite well, being a catch here, right? Maybe being, attractive, looking good, earning good money, having a good job, stability, earthy, very practical, successful in the practical area, earthy matters. You do well, you keep schedules, you are on time, you can follow the watch, you are part of community, you are accepted, you are, but it's ordinary, right? It's on an ordinary job, life performance, capability. You do on your own, you are doing quite well, you keep a clean house, things like that. You make sure that all these earthly things are done, practical, earthy, routine, day-to-day life things are kept in check. You are quite good at this, and it makes you acceptable in society and community. This guy, he's like, this is on the other side, right? He is in his lab alone. He is working on some kind of specialist thing, some kind of he doesn't care about community and other people's opinions of you or acceptance of you. He does his own thing here. He does his own thing. So it's almost like this is what you have done before, right? This was important before. And now it's like this could be more of importance. Okay, let's have a look at this amethyst here. Okay, purification, going through some kind of cleanse, emotional cleansing, rejuvenation. Again, 10 of Earth is quite, this is quite well, it's doing good, but it's still minor arcana, right? It hasn't jumped to the major arcana. It's on a good, stable level here. Cleansing, purification of a water element, purification, water, emotional cleansing, rejuvenation. And because of this cleanse you have been going through, emotional detox, something is happening, right? Because after this purification, something could be opening up. Something is happening here. Is that is allowing you to connect with something else inside you, or something that has been limited or held in check. I feel like there's something about what I would call ordinary here, middle class, something good. It's good, right? But it's anonymous. You're doing good here. It's not a bad card, but what? But it's, I don't know. This is expert level. This is genius. This is specialist, right? This is doing a very great job, having a nice income, very stable, very solid, middle class, super well foundation, money in the bank, a good apartment, solid health, and good community. You have connections with people and friends here. It's very attractive. Look at them, very attractive. But for some reason it seems like, even though she had this, something was going on here. She was cleansing something, purifying herself of some kind of emotional luggage here that perhaps have kept her from let's say expansion. Like he's kept under expansion, under limit. He's in a cave. But I feel like, and growing armor. Again, I have feeling of growing armor. It's like a shift, it's almost like they're trading roles. So a part of a personality is shining more through, where it looked more like this before, very hardworking, very dedicated in society, a normal person, very maybe attending to a bit of an emotional person, but stable, solid, doing well with the earthly matters, And now it could be the feeling that there is a sense of a shift. A focus is different. Like she's fine, but she's definitely within the frame. This guy, he is absolutely not within the frame. He hates being limited. He hates feeling like he is living in a world that doesn't get him. He's way out there. He's very cosmic. Like it's difficult to have a conversation with him. He is like an Einstein, right? She's doing a lot of, again, I get this almost like the wife, right? The wife of Stephen Hawking. She was doing all of this stuff. She was ordinary. Nobody knew her really, right? She did all this practical stuff, right? And she talked with the teachers and professors. She called for dentist appointments and took care of the children and was social with, I don't know, school appointments, right? She was the watery one, the caring, the feminine part. She was the caring wife, right? And he was this scientist, math, but also with a big sense of intuitive incoming knowledge that made him stay fixed on it, like fixed on an idea. He didn't waver on it, right? He had to believe in his theory. He had to. I know he modified it along the way, but he stuck to it, right? Or stuck to it. He had to be fixed in a way. Someone who is 10 of Pentacles here usually is not that stuck in their ways. They had to go through schooling. Like to be a 10 of Earth and having a good position, a well-paid but maybe normal or ordinary job, they had to go along the plan. They had to follow the plan, the educational plan. They had to go to college, high school. They had to get the degrees to be a match to certain positions. They followed the plan, right? They had to be mutable or flexible and follow the plan and be patient and follow the plan and do well and get good exams and then go out, have all these practical skills, be very earthy, very capable, very cooperative, right? They should be able to communicate, be cooperative in community, be part of this, be likable, be acceptable, be capable. Where this guy, he's in his own bubble. He follows his own rules, right? A scientist has to follow. He's a pioneer, right? He goes where nobody else has gone before, right? He is a theoretical or a mind-based pioneer. Where this is not pioneering. They are in the work field doing what is already known, upholding it, upholding a job, keeping a pillar standing in society, right? They keep the wheels turning. Right? This is one of the people that keeps the wheels turning in what we already know, what is already here. but this one is pioneering. Like they are in a field that is maybe not known yet, potentially has great potential for healing or helping healing something. It is on their own. They have to follow their own instinct. They have to follow their own intuition. They have to go with what they get, go with what their mind and their intuition is telling them to figure out what this is, right? Some kind of mission or some kind of potential that they may be able to calculate or figure out. Some new math theory, maybe a new approach to some kind of math understanding or science understanding, maybe a breakthrough in neuroscience or something like that. I don't know. But these are shadows, right? Or each other's shadows. This one is the one that came up. This is what has been before. So I feel like someone is potentially moving from mediocre or middle class, doing okay. I want to stress this, doing okay, but leaving this behind to try to, after some kind of purification, again, emotional cleansing was maybe needed to trust yourself, to actually go along with this crazy plan, maybe, that is out of the box thinking, but doing it anyway. Doing it anyway, even though it is way out there, leaving this security behind and doing it after some kind of emotional cleanse, where you may have needed to figure out why you haven't trusted in this. Why didn't you go here before, right? Why did you settle for the already known plan, right? Something like that. But he's on the move. Like this one is on the move. I get something about armor, building a resilience to actually show himself, right? To show himself. And what he may talk about can have a healing effect on people. Again, air sign. Maybe he is teacher, talker, writer. Again, I get psychology, something about someone who can expand outside of the box. It means that he can understand people, perhaps. Something about the brain, something about our ways, our behaviors that is outside normal understanding. And that makes him a healer, right? That he can understand something from a level that is not currently understood or acceptable in the world. Because he can see things from such different perspective, he can become a healer, right? That kind of feel, that's what I feel like. And I get like laser sharp vision. He can see something. He knows something. And because he knows laser sharp, he sees something, he knows something. Because he knows that, he can become a healer. because it is outside of the normal understanding of everything, because he can take you out there. It's like he opens doors in people's lives to see things differently, and that makes him a healer. Something like that, right? Again, here I would say Jupiter and Gemini, right? That like an expansive, giant, new approach, perhaps. New, something bigger, something, think bigger, right? Expand your mind, open new doors, let's explore, right? Something like that. Yeah, this is what I have. Maybe an advice card. Can I get an advice card on this journey or this shift or this guy? Can we trust this? Is that, again, I get someone who I feel more anonymous but hardworking, doing okay, looking okay, being okay. But this guy, he is something way different. I get almost like someone who would fit this, could be someone like Elon Musk, right? Totally out of the box. Makes people don't get him. He's alien-like, right? In his ways of thinking. He's not what we can't relate, or it's difficult to relate to him. Self-made or self-taught or whatever, engineer, and someone like, that's what he is. Is he a destroyer? This one came up, Ace of Cups here. Is he a destroyer or is he a healer, right? Is he a destroyer or is a threat to humanity and humanity's ways, society's ways, or is he a healer? Ace of Cups. This was a flyer. Watery, extremely watery. Overflowing love. Again, now I get Jesus energy. That is what he's doing here, is with such care and such love. Like it the potential of him and healing of hearts, perhaps, healing of hearts is with such love. Like that, there's so much love, but he can be definitely very misunderstood, I think. Because the way he comes in, the knowledge he brings is so alien, so different, so difficult to understand, that we, at first point, he would be dismissed, right? He's an outcast, right? Too difficult too difficult to understand, too difficult to go along with. So I get a magician here, a magician card, Gemini card, as an advice. Gemini, the magician can manipulate elements. Like he has the ability to module elements. Again, healer, right? He can change conditions, I feel like. Emotional blocks, perhaps. Emotional purification, emotional blocks. There's a lot of love here. Things that are, it's an overflowing cup, overwhelming feelings. and he can module, right? He has the ability to module and change and shift, and he's an energy healer. So again, even though he looks like, or he feels like maybe a threat or alien or unknown or not familiar, he has something to bring here, I feel like. I think that if you feel that you are sometimes connecting with something like this inside you or someone around you, he has something to bring. He can bring something. There's magician energy here, the modulating. Again, look at the hands here, right? The way that this is shifting and changing and modulating, right? And again, the hands here with the fire, and it actually looks a bit like fireworks here from his hands, I feel like. But there's like energy, the modulating, like the modulating hands that can, healing hands, right? Has the ability to like module, change, transform. We had transformation here as well. Certainty and confidence. Could be something about people's confidence. Confidence in themselves, self-worth. Again, someone who has been going through their own emotional cleanse here and rejuvenation could have learned something, right? They may have learned something, and now they are perhaps a teacher, could become a teacher. In the healing art here, within, again, this eye, the seeing, like laser sharp seeing what is going on in the heart area. Why do we have overflowing emotions? Why are we overwhelmed? Why are we torn? Why are we unhappy? Ace of Cups is usually a new beginning. In love, we say, but I would say in this scenario, I see a new beginning and a change, right? A change within the area here, the heart chakra area, because someone sees, right? But I also have the cycles of the moon here, which to me indicates that it takes time, right? That it's not overnight that something happens. It could be when we have a new moon and we try to attempt to make a new moon manifestation, we say that there's a potential for that new attempt, or this new wish, or this new thing you want to learn or become or something, to manifest within half a year. Because within half a year you go from the new moon to the full moon. So in half a year we have a full moon in Gemini, and full moon is usually about completion. So there's a potential to start something now, to complete it, or again, it's a potential with the moons, because they keep coming, right? So next year you will have another new moon in Gemini, and you will have another a full moon in Gemini as well. It's a reoccurring process. The moon never gives up on us, right? So we start a process, we can attempt to start a process, and then we can see how it develops, at least over half a year, to see if the full moon actually comes through. Do we manage to get this one out of his cave? Can he fly and how is he received, right? Something like that. Yeah, this is what I have. So, do you trust this magician? Do you trust him, right? This is the advice card. The advice card is 1, the magician, Gemini energy. It is transformative energy. Magician can be a bit, it's difficult to understand a magician, right? A magician never shows his tricks, right? He doesn't reveal them. A magician is this unbelievable person, right? He does stuff that other people cannot do, right? He can make things appear and disappear. He can remove them, right? He can remove something, and he can add something, and we can be astounded by what he is doing because we don't get it, right? We're not like him. Again, specialist. A magician is like a specialist in a certain field. Now I get something like, it's almost like this one can be a mind surgeon. Not in the mind, but with his mind. It's almost like an he could sit in meditation and make surgery on your body. It's like these hands are metaphorically, they are not real, but they do surgery. It's like a mind, like he can use his mind to do metaphorical surgery, healing, modulation. Again, he can sit in his living room doing modulation with his hand, healing someone's heart. No blood, no surgery, no anesthesia, nothing. That's what I feel like. Something like it's out of the box. Something we don't know yet. It's out of the box. That's what I feel like. It's that crazy or that strange. Something we don't know. Like that is not how surgery works, right? You have to be in the room. You have to be put down with anesthesia. The surgeon has to cut you, right? This is like someone not cutting. He's not cutting. He's doing all of this with his mind. It's like he's putting in his hand, taking out the problem, the heart problem, taking it out like that, and healing, and then done. Doing all of this from his living room. Something like that. That's why he's out of the box, out of the frame. And that's why people don't believe him. Right? And he has no proof. And the only thing we understand in the scientific realm is that there has to be proof. Otherwise, you can never ever become a surgeon. You can never ever, you have to study, go to school, you have to study, follow the plan, Otherwise, it's not accepted. What he's doing is, I want to say, almost occult, right? He's doing something that is not known yet. It's out of the box. It's strange. It's not normal. Or if not normal, then it's not accepted. It's not how medical procedures work. That's not how we do it, right? Something like that. Okay? This is what I have. I hope this helped out there. Take care of yourself, everybody, always during moon transitions. Just breathe and relax and see what comes up, right? What presents itself. Yeah, so this is what I have. Take care of yourself. Love and light to all of you. Bye bye.